that's right. It is Thursday afternoon, and what an appropriate day to be talking about Operation Military Kids. This is D-Day today. It's D-Day. Yes, that's right, June 6th. That's right. So here we are right here on WCRS this afternoon. I have Sharon A. Lone. What a name. Sharon A. Lone. Sharon Lone, how are you doing today?
Doing very well. How about yourself?
Very good. It's great to have you here. Sharon is the South Carolina Operation Military Kids Coordinator for the state of South Carolina. See what happens when you volunteer? You ended up with a job out of this, didn't you?
It took a while, but yes, it did.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. Well, why don't you first off just tell us, what is Operation Military Kids?
Operation Military Kids was developed after 9/11 when we started shipping our Guard and Reserve out of the country. These folks don't have an installation or a post or something where they have resources, so Operation Military Kids was an attempt to provide resources for those families when the person was deployed. And we have been fairly successful.
No, that's terrific. And you know, one of the differences between those that live on a base and those that live in the community, you may not even know that you have someone living down the street from you who has somebody gone. So
exactly.
This is a very good program. We've talked a lot about these issues and how people can help out, whether it's taking a child to a ball game or picking them up, or even bringing a casserole or baking some bread or something and dropping it by.
Exactly. You can. Our communities can be such a support system, but the issue is, do we know that they're in our own backyard, and how can we help?
Sure. And you know, the stories that you see when dad or mom comes home and you know there's the surprise, whether it's popping out of a box or just coming up at a game or something like that, you know, it just really warms your heart every time you see it.
Absolutely. I've been at a couple of schools when the dad came home and the child in the school didn't know that he was coming home, and it was just awesome. And one little girl, I remember, she ran across a large room, and when she hit her dad, she was halfway up his body with hands around the neck. It was just really touched the heart to see her do that.
Absolutely. And of course, your husband was in the military.
That's correct. He was Army. He was helicopter pilot in Vietnam. Flew medevac and gunships.
Certainly is a different time today, isn't it, with our military?
Yes. And thank goodness for it, because when our guys came back from Vietnam, the attitude was not the respectful attitude that these folks have today, and that's great. Thank goodness we grew up.
Absolutely. So, but yeah, I can't, the difference is just phenomenal. And, you know, the support, you know, I think some of it has to do with just the states that you're in. South Carolina is such a supportive, it is a military state.
It is. We have a lot of personnel here in the state of South Carolina, and we have a lot of installations that support that.
I'm actually from Maine, and I was from the central part, and although I know that there were people, I was young when Vietnam was going on, I knew people that went away, but it's not the same as the feeling that it is right here in South Carolina.
It's very personal, a one-on-one. My son's getting ready to deploy in August.
Mm-hmm.
So
it has to be hard.
It is. This will be his second deployment. His first was in 2005, just outside of Baghdad in Iraq. Hopefully this time the missions will be less stressful than those in Iraq. So if I get a little misty when I'm talking about something, I just can't help myself.
I understand. This morning we had Congressman Tom Rice on the air with us. He just came back from Afghanistan and Kosovo with Congressman Joe Wilson. They were over there over Memorial Day weekend. And he said the strides, he had a lot of question about whether they were actually making strides over there in Afghanistan, but he said to see the change in the military, meaning the military is taking a less upfront role, although they are still there and still right there to support. They are taking, the Afghanis are taking a much stronger role as far as running the operations and everything.
And if the scuttlebutt is right, you know about that, Robert's unit will be going in and taking down buildings that were built for the war purpose and making them what the Afghans would like to have them be. So that's their mission. So it's a positive mission
Sure.
for them this time.
But it doesn't take any less of the concern and worry.
Absolutely not.
Because the IEDs and what can happen even in just taking down a building.
You're right. You're right. The mission in Iraq was the unexploded ordnance. That was their mission, was to find those and get rid of them. So we are hoping that it's not going to be that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Every time we send,
But
anytime you send anybody into harm's way, that
Sure.
has to be something in the back
Sure.
of your mind, maybe in the front of your mind, where you're always saying, are they okay?
Right. And our kids go through that same thing. You know, they may be young. Let me give you an example. I have a 5-year-old that's mom was in the Navy and she's deployed. Well, he and his 2 siblings were moved to South Carolina to stay with grandmother. And this little 5-year-old, he was just mad about the whole thing. He didn't understand it, and he was giving the school a little bit of a fit. And when the counselor and I started working with the child, one of the things that we did was bring him his hero pack. And some other kids at the school were awarded their hero packs at the same day. Well, I saw him go from mad to put the little shoulders out and the head stood up a little bit straighter, because we acknowledged the fact that he's a hero too, because his parent is deployed and is serving the country. And those, like we were saying, or I was saying a second ago, these kids are impacted just as much as the people that are deployed. And the other piece of that is the spouse. If
Yes.
they're left behind, their duties have changed from cook and bottle washer to now you're running the whole show, and they're serving just as well.
Absolutely. I think that's one thing that we have to give kudos to each and every family member who is here taking care of children, taking care of themselves, and trying to make life as normal as it can be while someone is gone.
Exactly. It does have a big impact.
So what type of things does Operation Military Kids actually do?
Okay, since I've already started talking
Yeah.
about hero packs, let's talk about the hero pack. Hero pack is a book bag that is filled with goodies that are donated by the public to be awarded to a child when their parent is deployed. We like to do it about 60 days out in a after the deployment, in a formal ceremony to let them know that they're important too. What they're doing is very special. We've done this in a school setting where they're presented in front of the whole school. We've done them on an individual basis. It depends upon the child and the situation. But they are our littlest heroes, and this is just a token to tell them that we told you I was going to do it, right? A token to show them that they're important and they're making sacrifices just like the
They
other
are
folks.
making a sacrifice.
They are.
And you know, I think sometimes it's even tougher because they don't exactly understand, depending on the age, they don't exactly understand. And or if they do understand, that can be even harder.
It can.
You know, because you know the possibility that someone might not come home.
This is true. One of the things that goes in the hero pack is a letter written by another child that is just telling them, dear friend, or however they choose to open this letter, and to give them some boost and positive things to think about, and to tell them that they appreciate the fact that they've made the sacrifice and that their parent is deployed. So one of the things in that hero pack is that letter, and it becomes very special to some of these kids. As a matter of fact, one of the kids that got his hero pack 2 days ago actually read his letter to his class.
Wow.
Which was really cool.
That is
And
cool.
the letter was awesome. Sometimes the letters are just a word or two. Sometimes it's a drawing if it's a young kid. Artwork is always makes the letter better. It's a good community service project if someone had a group of kids that needed community service hours.
Absolutely.
writing the letter would be a good way to do that.
Absolutely. We are here with Sharon Lone. We are going to be right back here. Right now, let's hear a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to be talking more about Operation Military Kids. The littlest ones should not be forgotten either. We'll be right back. Don't you go away. All right. I tell you what. Can you imagine being a little short person and your parents are going away, or maybe only one of your parents is going away? You don't really understand it. And then you get this hero pack, and in the hero pack is a letter from another military child. And I've got a couple of the letters here. They're real short, but they are truly sweet. Dear military child, thank you so much for your courage during your parents' deployment. You are truly an inspiration to me. Keep your head up and know that your parent is fighting for a good cause. And then there's a little smiley face with it. That's really nice. And then it's got looks like this must have been done in the summer, because it's got sandals there, flip-flops done in red, white, and blue. And here's another one. Dear friend, you should be very proud of the person who is in the military. They aren't the only hero. You are one also. Everything will be okay. Don't forget to smile every day. Keep your head up and be proud. And the last one that I have here. Dear military kid, I will be thinking about this the entire time. You need to know that I am your friend. Be brave, military kid. That's pretty nice. Those are just, now those you can tell are really from the heart.
They are.
They're not long and they're not drawn out. They're just nice little messages that I'm sure when a child gets this, they sit there and look at it over and over and over again.
They do enjoy the letter a lot. I had one that accidentally got 3 letters this week, and she pulled one out of the bag and she says, "Oh, I've got a letter. Oh, I have 2 letters. Oh, I have 3 letters."
Wow.
And she was a kindergarten child. So.
Oh, that's terrific. Now, what other type of things are in the bags?
It can be things that will help the child stay in communication with the person that's deployed. There's usually a journal inside each one of the hero packs, maybe a disposable camera so they can take pictures, sometimes stationery, sometimes school supplies. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just a toy or a game or something that's just for fun.
Sure. That
and
good.
Each one of the hero packs has a label on it that marks them as a hero. And if they're handed out in a school situation, sometimes it turns into a status symbol. Sure. When they carry their book bag around.
Absolutely. Now, how does this program work? I mean, you're talking about getting volunteers to give stuff and everything. You work for the organization. How does this organization work? You coordinate through, I think, didn't you tell me you got a grant? You got a grant for this program?
The way that it actually comes down, it's through the Department of Defense, through the Department of the Army, a grant written by personnel at Clemson University. And then it's for Operation Military Kids to work with military families inside South Carolina.
Sure. So what other things do you do with the kids?
We have yellow ribbon events, and that's the Army's way. And all branches, I think, do yellow ribbons in different manners, but it's a pre-deployment briefing for the parents. Then there's 60-day after deployment, and then 30, 60, 90 days after they come back. But what we do while the parents are being briefed, Operation Military Kids works with the kids. We take in our mobile tech lab, which has got all kinds of cool stuff in it, from robotics kits to paper rockets to face-to-face with a NASA engineer, and work with the kids. Our goal is to excite them about science, technology, engineering, and math, because South Carolina's missing some people that we could put to work today if they had that focus as they came through school and as a career. So talking to them about STEM stuff and putting hands on with robots, maybe that'll cue someone to that's what they really want to do for a career.
I understand you like playing with all that.
I do. I am a Mark Twain enthusiast. If you make your vocation your vacation, then you never have to go to work. And I thoroughly do enjoy And I'm learning, I'm over the hill, so to speak. So I'm an immigrant to technology, and in the past 2 years, I have had to come up to speed in a lot of things. It took me 4 hours to build my first robot. So
how long should it take?
About 30 minutes.
About 30 minutes.
That's
Okay,
not
Sharon.
counting programming.
Yeah, okay. But do they just get to work with them? Do they get to keep any of these things, or how does
The
this work?
robotics kits are pretty expensive,
Mm-hmm.
so we have a cadre of 9
Mm-hmm.
that they can use that day or during a camp,
Mm-hmm.
and they actually assemble the robot, and then they actually learn software programming. So they have to program the robot to do the task or follow the course, whatever the task for the day is.
Wow.
So no, they don't get to take it home.
But they have don't they have a big rolling, a trailer or a motor facility, a mobile facility that
Yes,
goes
it's
to
called
their-
my car.
It's called your car. Oh, okay. This is high-tech stuff, guys.
That's right. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. 4-H has just acquired a couple of Science on the Move trailers, so 4-H is one of our big partners, and we can support each other that way. So if we were to have a need to have a really large group, then they could
Put it together.
put it together for me. But right now, it's my car.
And I would think one of the other problems is that we've had so many of our National Guard be deployed 1, 2, 3, multiple times.
Yeah, 5,
And-
6, 7 times.
And this has to have an effect on our kids, this
They
going back.
miss the birthdays, they miss graduation, so a large part of their lives is taken away to deployment.
Sure.
And a lot depends upon what their area of service is for the military, how many times they're deployed.
Sure. And of course, in the National Guard, I think we used to remember, like, give your 2 weeks.
2 weeks and 1 week in a month?
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry, but that's not the way it is.
I know it's not. So they're gone for long periods of time.
They are.
Yeah.
Usually in the National Guard, it's at least a year. There are some folks that are deployed for 18 months, and then there are some that are deployed for as little as 3 to 6 months, depending upon the branch of service.
Now, when you look at how you're, how do you calculate what is helping and what isn't? I mean, do you do any type of studies that show that this is good or this is helpful, that type of thing?
We do have surveys that we give after some events,
Mm-hmm.
but from my perspective,
Mm-hmm.
when you see the child be successful on a team doing a project, whatever that is, from rockets to robots, and the eyes light up, you know that you're making a difference, at least for that short period of time. If we give them a skill that they've never experienced before, if we teach, that's with them forever. When we do the Wounded Warriors retreats, we always take archery and fishing. And an example of, I cannot put it in data, but one of the only quad amputees attended the Lieutenant Dan Wounded Warrior last year. And my husband does the fishing piece of it. And he says, sure, you can fish. And the guy told him, nah, I can't do that. He says, come on, let me show you. So he hooked him up with fishing rig in salt water, and the guy caught the biggest cow ray I've ever seen in my life. And he fought it for half an hour.
Wow.
Till the fish was actually removing his prosthesis, and he went, Bill, come get it. I'm falling apart here. I need some help.
I'm literally falling apart. Yeah.
But how can you put that in numbers?
You can't.
You can't.
No.
It's what you see them experience and the changes that happen that day. As a matter of fact, he went and bought himself his fishing rig, so now that he can fish on his own. So it's there, but it's not something that you can put in ones and twosies.
And it is terrific that the military has realized that things like this make a difference to their lives. When we come back after the news, we're going to be talking more about some of the things that are happening with Operation Military Kids, how if you'd like to get involved, you can get involved, and some more issues that I know are going to be interesting to you all. So you stay right with us. This is WCRS right here in Greenwood. News is up.
Arg, are you a pirate or a pack rat? Do you have a vacation of a lifetime sitting in the attic? Or a college tuition hung on a wall? Or is a fabulous retirement hidden in your jewelry box? Bring those items to Sharp Facets Gallery. We can establish value and buy from you or sell for you. And so ends another chapter at Sharp Facets Gallery, 72 Bypass, and on the web, sharpfacets.com.
Oh, that's right. We're here with Sharon Lone, and I'm having a good time. We're talking about military kids today, and God knows there are a lot of military kids. And particularly, it can be rather difficult because not only do we have military dads anymore, we have military moms, and sometimes you even have, if they're in the National Guard, they can end up both being deployed. So it really is a different world today, isn't it, as far as our deployments and everything?
Absolutely, you're exactly right. It can be, there's a lot of single-parent families. Well, once that parent's deployed, then they have to make arrangements for those children to stay with family or friends,
and that's very hard. Yeah.
And that complicates things as well.
Sure. So we've been talking about some of the things that are being done, Operation Military Kids. Now, Sharon, if somebody's interested in getting involved or would like to help out in some way, can they give you a call?
Absolutely. I'd love to hear from them.
Okay. What's your phone number?
864-993-1711.
Okay. 993-1711. And does Operation Military Kids have a website?
We do.
Okay.
But I'm not going to brag on it right now.
Okay. It's in progress, is that what you're saying?
That's
yes,
exactly
under construction.
Under construction. But it would be scomk.org.
Okay.
And my area code is 864 on that phone number, so you'd need it.
Okay. So you can go look at some of the information about it. You know, one of the things that is difficult today, particularly when we look at donating and doing stuff, is knowing that the organization that you're donating to, that the things are being used for that. If you make a monetary donation, that you know that the money is going for the cause that it's supposed to go to.
Exactly. And the way to answer that is, give me 5 minutes in a slideshow and I'll show you where it goes.
Okay. Well, that's terrific. But
That's
I am
one
saying,
way.
yeah.
That's one way that we kind of do our accountability. Is every place that we go, every event that we work with, we photograph, and a picture's worth a million words, right?
Absolutely, it is. Now, I see that you're wearing a red, white, and blue ribbon here with it looks like some dog tags on it, is what that kind of looks like. What is that ribbon there?
The ribbon is second generation ribbon. The first generation ribbon was given to me by Dr. O'Shields at Bell Street Middle School right after 9/11. And I wore it out. So this one came from middle school in Myrtle Beach in Horry County last year when we did their Veterans Day program with them. So, and the dog tag that you see is similar to the dog tags that we hand out to our kids. They're on a chain and has Operation Military Kids on one side and then one of our partners on the other side. And they kind of like getting the dog tag, so they've got one like their parent.
Absolutely. So those backpacks that you do, they're called hero packs, are just filled with stuff to make them feel good. We've talked about some of the letters that the kids do for kids that are just experiencing this, and I think that's terrific. You know, one of the programs that you have here that I was interested in about was Speak Out for Military Kids. Now, what's that about?
Speak Out for Military Kids is when you put a group of kids together that part are military and part of them are non-military, and they sit down in kind of like a workshop or a round table and discuss the issues that all teens have, but specifically some issues that are just for military kids. And then once they have made that discussion, They kind of give us a list of items that need to be addressed by adults, and then we can take that on the road up the hill through the chain of command to let folks know what the kids think. And ultimately, what I would like to see happen during these discussions is the kids actually write a script and produce a video that we can show. Like a month of the military child is April. And if I had the video, then I could pass it to schools that may not have very many military kids in it, and they would be able to play it on their inside school TV to where kids would know maybe some of the issues that military kids are facing. So if they've got a military child in their school, then they could kind of beef him up on the day when he might be feeling bad or something.
Sure. You know, one of the things I would think is that non-military kids might not have any idea what it's like, or think, well, what's so special about your fact that your parent's gone? I can see that being something, maybe not verbalized that much, but something that you go, well, you just got to cope with it, right?
Yes, they don't understand.
Right, yeah.
But it's also adults as well as kids. If a child doesn't know what these kids are experiencing, how are they supposed to adjust and support the child? One of the things that we have done is kind of an interactive theater right before we would ask a group of kids to do the letter writing. And I'll pull 3 or 4 kids out of the group, take them outside, and I said, okay, you are going to be the mom, and you're going to be deployed. Dad, you've never had to be a stay-at-home dad, but you are now. And now you 2 guys are going to be kids, and one of you is just going to be real sullen and not want to do anything but stay in your room. And you, the 5-year-old, all you want to do is scream and yell and holler because nothing makes you happy. And then these kids go back in front of the other group and perform this interactive theater, so the kids know basically why they're writing that letter for the hero pack and to what set of circumstances it's going to.
Sure.
So that's one way that we can educate. And there's something called a Ready, Set, Go training that we can take to adults to let them understand the deployment process and what these families are going through.
And actually, some of the toughest time, I think, has to be when the parent that has been gone comes back into the family unit. Because after so long, people start to adjust. And even though they may be excited to have that person back, the world is different than it used to be.
Exactly.
And that has to be some of the toughest. And sometimes it's very tough for the person that's coming back to be part of that family again, because things have changed. They've had to in order to survive.
And people change.
Sure.
And they've grown. The person deployed has changed. The kids at home have changed. Their responsibilities have changed. They've grown a year or 18 months since that person's been gone. So it is hard to
Reintegrate.
Reintegrate
Yeah.
is the word.
Yeah.
And one of the things that the military is using is something called a strong bonds retreat. And that's putting families together, doing cool things together. And there's some classroom time in it too, so that the bond is reinitiated if it's broken, or shored up if it's got some issues.
Absolutely. Well, I think you must be a real believer in this program to have come on board and now be working it. You volunteered for, how long did you volunteer, Sharon?
From 2005 to 11.
So you were in it for 6 years before you actually got a job doing this.
Right.
I guess you really had to prove yourself, huh?
I think so. I must have done something right along the way, or they wouldn't have offered the position. So.
All right. When we come back, hey, if you've got a question, give us a call, 229-7984. That's 229-7984. Give us a call. But when we come back, we're going to be talking about what sequester is meaning to this group and some of the other issues out there. So don't you go away. We'll be right back. If you want to call us, 229-7984. We'll be right back. Oh, that's right. We're right back here, Sharp Facets Gallery, just sharing information back and forth with Sharon Lone. That's right. She is the operations, she's the coordinator for South Carolina Operation Military Kids. And I tell you what, Now, that's for the whole state of South Carolina, is that right?
That's correct, and all branches.
That's pretty huge.
It is.
Do you get much time off, Sharon? No.
Short answer is no.
That's right. Well, that, I think we should thank you for your service to all of our kids out here. Militarily wise, this is a big service to all the guys and gals that are gone, and I know they must feel a little bit better knowing that there's somebody out there that cares and tries to do something to help their kids.
We care.
Well, that shows, and that's very, very evident that you care. I mean, you were just talking about your hug-a-doll here, and even though you're an adult, when your son leaves, you're getting one of those. We should talk about hug-a-doll. or did I say it wrong? Yes, hug dolls, right? Yes.
Give a Hug doll is a rag doll that has a picture frame for the head, and a picture of the deployed person is slid in the little picture frame, and then that person being deployed gives it to the child as they leave, before they leave, as a touchstone while they're gone. And like I was telling Ann a second ago, I am getting one of these this time. I didn't have one when he was in Iraq, but I'm going to have one this time.
Well, they're real cute. They're about, about 8 to 10, about 10 inches tall. And it's got raggedy green and white hair, and then it's dressed in camouflage here, and it's a great place to put a picture of the parent or a family member that is going to be gone. So
he can go to dinner, or he can sit and watch TV, or whatever you want him to do.
Sure. And, I've been amazed. Not long ago, I was watching TV, and they had the cutout dad. That's what they called him, cutout dad. And it was a whole poster size. And when Dad came back, he looked at that and went, "What is going on here?"
He's also been called Flat Daddy.
Flat Daddy, there you go. That was, I think, maybe what the term was, Flat Daddy. I mean,
Hold him and go anywhere with
exactly.
Whatever it takes to make that personal touch reminder to keep that person in the forefront while they're gone.
Absolutely.
It makes that coming home not quite as hard.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I know you've seen many, many military go, and I know you've seen many, many military come back since you've been doing this.
Yes.
And I know that has to be hard on you, and I know you're probably very pleased when they all come back, but it's still tough all the way around.
It is. It is. But coming home is a wonderful thing.
Sure. And, of course, we're going to also talk a little bit more about, now you have some camps coming up, I understand. What are the camps, and who gets to qualify to go to the camps?
Okay, we have 2 camps, one on June 12th at Lake Carolina, and it's a STEM day camp. It's just the one day, but we're going to focus on that science, technology, engineering, and math. They're designed for military children. So if you're interested, tomorrow's deadline.
Good, you're right here today.
And the other one will be at Fort Jackson Alpine Lodge, and that is June 25, 26, and 27. And again, it's a STEM camp with a focus on military youth.
Now, is that staying overnight, or is that a day
No,
camp?
they're both day camps.
And what age group for the...
9 to 14.
On both of them?
On both of them.
9 to 14. That's a tough age to find something for them to do. They feel like they're grown up, but they still need that supervision.